World War III's starting. The left's blaming like CRT. The right's saying like that like Biden sucks, so that's why. And I'm just sitting here worrying about how fat I am.
Underneath the bridge, top has sprung a leak, and the animals I've trapped all become my pets, and I'm living off of grass and the drippings from the ceiling. It's okay to eat fish, 'cause they don't have any feelings. Something in the way, something in the way, yeah. Something in the way. Sprung a leak, and the animals I've trapped have all become my pets, and I'm living off of grass and the drippings from the ceiling. It's okay to eat fish, 'cause they don't have any feelings. Something in the way, something in the way, yeah.
Coffee. You know, if all of this shit causes me not to be able to have my coffee, that's when I'm throwing in the towel. Anyway, you know, I wanted to come on here and just talk about alternate day fasting. Not the end of the world as we know it, you know, or at least some would make you feel that way. I think it's just a situation, as far as that goes, that Putin's going to go take over the Ukraine and we're going to cry about it, and that's about all that's going to happen there, you know, until China does what China's planning on doing. Anyways, enough about that shit. So I started, I think it was Monday, with my first alternate day fast day, and things are going well. So I want to get on here and talk about. I did some homework. By homework I mean one of the things I do when I'm thinking of adopting something long term is I go and see if anyone else has done it and what their results were, and it's called anecdotal data. And the first thing I came across, of course, was a mainstream media news article saying that alternate day fasting ain't better than the low-calorie fucking diet. Which, as many of you know, I've said in the past, if you are constantly in a caloric deficit, your metabolism drops, as in you're burning a lot less calories, and therefore you have to consistently remain in that calorie deficit to keep your weight loss. And the minute you deviate, and you're also going to be hungrier during that period, making your willpower an issue, you'll eventually gain all the weight back, and even then some, because your metabolism doesn't necessarily rise back up. I every once in a while I get that, well, it's calories in, calories out, motherfucker. No, your body adjusts to that. That's why you struggle in the gym. That so many people they bust their ass to lose weight. It's why you have motherfuckers carving up their stomachs to maintain their caloric deficit for the rest of their life. And it's basically the only way around it, is fasting. That's the only solution long term to keep the weight off and not be hungry all the time and not have your metabolism drop. And by fasting, in this case, I'm talking about alternate day fasting. Now, on average, the anecdotal cases I looked at lost anywhere between 8 and 20 pounds per month. And that, of course, is highly dependent on exercise, on what kinds of foods you're eating on your eat days. One of the big selling points of alternate day fasting is you can eat what you want. So I've decided to test that all the way down to ketovore. We'll see. I'm going to start off, and I have been starting off with, being on the road and not wanting to cook much, eating what I want. So we'll see how the first month goes, eating what I want. And I'm also, as you know, I'm more keen on the mental health aspects of it. Do the 36 to 40 hour fasts every other day, cancel out any damage I do on the feed days. That's a big question. Thomas DeLauer has covered ADF rather extensively, and he says he's come across studies and evidence that shows that even on your feed days, you're still producing and utilizing ketones, probably because, in my estimation, you're refilling your glycogen stores. And if this is all new to you, you need to go watch my old shit, because I talked about all of this back in the day. I'm not going to do it all over again. Watch those old videos. I put a lot of work and effort and research into this shit, and I'm not going to regurgitate just because you don't feel like going back a couple years and looking at the fucking nutrition videos I did over the years. But that being said, I'm trying to find something that is flexible enough where I don't have to fucking cook every fucking time I eat in the truck. Or I don't have to struggle to find a Walmart that'll allow me to park the truck in, because that seems to be an issue lately. And to where I don't, I'm not as concerned with weight loss, although it'd be nice to get back down into the 190s. I'm more concerned with not becoming a really fat fuck, which is what can happen if you eat in truck stops and you fucking don't take care and cook all your meals and buy all your shit at the fucking grocery store. And so I would rather see my big thing on this first month of ADF, where I kind of eat what I want. And I'm still going to lean heavily towards keto and whole foods. So, if I can cook a keto meal or eat out in a restaurant and eat something, that's, ribeyes are still my favorite, so there's going to be lots of meat and fat and all of that in the diet part of it. But at the same time, I'm not going to hold myself liable if I have a biscuit or some fries or something, here and there. I need that flexibility out here on the road, because I don't feel like cooking after a fucking 14-hour day. It's not something I want to do. So, and also for the first 30 days, I'm actually following the alternate day diet style with a twist. I call it alternate day fat fasting. So on my fasting days, I'm still doing my coffee, and I'm still doing the heavy cream that you saw in the beginning of the video. Preferably organic heavy cream, but if I have to go to Walmart, I can't necessarily get the organic heavy cream very easily. So that means I'm getting emulsifiers in my shit, which can lead to some extra trips to the bowl. So far, the first couple of fasts on this, particularly since my fucking diet's off the rails, were difficult. Like, I wanted to eat on my fucking fast days. But today, not so much. I'm doing fine so far. This is a fast day today, so I just got my coffee. And I'm not doing it optimally. Optimally would be completely ketogenic, even carnivore, on your feed days, and fat fasting on your fast days. No more than 600 calories on your fast days. So you got to be careful. I get 2 of these and then I switch to water or black coffee if I need another coffee. So on my fast days, no more than 600 calories. The difference between what I'm doing and what nearly everybody I saw that was giving results was doing is I am consuming only fat on my fast days. Now, for those of you who are new, the reason for that is it will boost you into ketosis quicker. Your body adapts to what you put in your stomach. So if you're not taking in carbohydrates and you're not taking in protein, your insulin will remain low, at your baseline, whatever the hell that is, depending on how diabetic you are. However, when you load up with some fat, it's like putting wood in a fire. Eventually, you're going to have these hot burning coals that kind of keep the thing burning. And that's the principle, and this is backed up by a couple of the gurus out there, Thomas DeLauer, when he's not taking his shirt off and going to Costco, sometimes he gets some shit right. And that's one of the things I believe he gets particularly right, is if you are consuming, because he's the only other motherfucker that really talks about fat fasting. Very few people, there's still a lot of fear of fat in our lives, and which makes no sense. It was the most coveted thing when we were hunter-gatherers, but now apparently it's going to kill us. And I find that when I do the opposite of what the FDA and the USDA and all of these agencies, and particularly what the mainstream media wants to do, that I have better results than if I do what they tell me to do. I imagine that. I can't think of, why this is such a new fucking concept in the past 2 years when I've delved deep into this in the past. Now everybody suddenly wants to trust the science presented by these motherfuckers when the science has been trying to debunk things that we've been doing for literally millions of years in favor of you going down to fucking McDonald's and loading up. It's fucking ridiculous. Or the latest push to go vegan, which we are not. We're not designed that way. Some people can get, better results than others. And I know vegans are going to hate me again, but it's been a while since I poked the vegans. You got to think in terms of what we are designed as hunter-gatherers. Genetically. We have not adapted to the last 100 years of horseshit, fake foods, and fucking crap that we stuff in our bellies. So, optimal health would be, and I'm not saying I'm a fucking angel in this, obviously, or I wouldn't be eating like shit every once in a while. But the fact of the matter is, we're not genetically adapted to that. We are genetically adapted, and we're not genetically vegans either. We are genetically adapted to survive in the wilderness, in our environments. So if they were to drop your ass, like if you live in the northern hemisphere particularly, and they were to drop your ass in the woods, what would you be eating? Well, you'd probably go fishing, and you'd probably try and find some of the fattiest fish you could catch, but you'll quickly find that you're getting too much protein and not enough fat in that scenario, so then you're going to go find some large game, not small game, because then you'll get into what's called rabbit starvation, because there's not enough fat in the small game, and you would pretty much eat every fucking section of that animal. Have you ever watched the TV show Alone, where they throw them out in the fucking woods for extremely long periods of time till they almost starve to death? You'll see that the ones who are successful that finish that are the ones that eat every last piece of that animal. They take the bones, they crack them up, they make fucking bone broth. They fucking consume the shit out of the animal. And yet the ones that are just eating fucking nuts and berries end up starving to death. So you can pretty much gather that we're not fucking vegans. You know, I realize that you don't want to hurt the animals, but nature doesn't give a shit about the animals, or they wouldn't have animals eating other fucking animals in the fucking food chain. It's a circle of life, and we're part of that. Something's going to eat your ass, whether it's microscopic bacteria or if, you know, somebody leaves you in the woods after they kill you, probably the animals are going to eat your ass there. You know, there's all kinds of shit that nature's going to do to you if you let it. It's because you're part of the circle of life that nature, you know, I know I'm getting a little hippie on your ass right now, but it is what it is. And the further from that you go, the worse your health is going to be. The further you destroy your environment from that environment that we are currently genetically adapted to survive in, the worse off your health is going to be. And the more you fuck with nature, the more likely you are to get your ass kicked, as we've also seen in the past couple of years. And we'll continue to see, you know, with all of this shit that people want to put in their arms nowadays. But that being said, you know, sorry, little tangent there. Fat is the way to go. Healthy fat. We're not talking McDonald's fucking vegetable oils and none of that shit. Basically, if your fat is derived from animals, you're probably good. You know, there's some arguments to be had on cooking it and not cooking it and then that kind of stuff. I prefer my shit cooked as far as food goes. Not too cooked. I like my shit pretty rare. But generally, as far as fat consumption goes, I like that to be cooked. You know, I've had some undercooked fat in the past, and I'm just like, no, not so much. But that's a personal preference. Like I said, I'm not here. A lot of people, you know, get a little butthurt if I deviate from a very strict regimen. I'm not the strict regimen guy. I am just as fucked up as everyone else. I'm addicted to the same fucked up shitty foods that everyone else is. I've got better willpower than a lot of people, so I can go long periods of time and be disciplined, but eventually I cave in, and I've caved in so much over the years. Even back in the day, I had cheat days, cheat weeks, cheat fucking months, and I'm kind of getting tired of feeling bad about it. So I think one way to alleviate that is pretty much permanently being an alternate day faster. I'm talking the rest of my life, every other day. Whether or not it's going to be a fat fast or a water fast on the fast days is open to some debate. If I find that I gain weight still on alternate day fat fasting in my current setup, eating what I want on my fucking feed days and having fat in my coffee, I probably will change it up. Like I might only eat what I want once a week, and then the rest of the days be keto or something like that. Or, you know, remove the fat from the coffee and just drink black coffee on my fast days. You know, giving up coffee is not a fucking option. So far the first week, things I've noticed, on my fast days, I've got that mental clarity and alertness, which tells me I'm producing a lot of ketones and utilizing them, even though I'm consuming fat on those days. And it still carries over into the feed days, but later into the feed days, I become very exhausted because I had a big meal and the food I ate wasn't the greatest. That matters, by the way. If you eat a shitty meal, you're going to feel like shit. If you eat a ketogenic or a steak or something like that, generally I feel a lot better, and I actually feel better, you know, the entire day. Whereas if I eat like a lot of carbs or something shitty, obviously I feel the carb coma and the tiredness. And so I think that loss of energy on the feed days largely is largely dependent on the quality of the foods I'm eating. So if I'm eating a lot of fucking carbohydrates and a lot of refined sugar and the fucking trans fats and all of that crap, if that's in that day, I'm gonna be done. And that's what happened to me my feed day yesterday. I went and had Chinese food, and boy did that put me out. That put me out. It was chicken lo mein. I hadn't had chicken lo mein in such a long time. I saw the Chinese place. It was at least a better option in my book than, say, the McDonald's or the Hardee's that was next to it. So I went to the Chinese place and had that. And boy, did it knock me out. Like, I was in bed by 8 o'clock. I wanted to stay up late because I wanted to sleep in because I almost died the other day. Side note, we had freezing rain in Kentucky, is where I was at, and fucking black ice on all the bridges. I get up at like 3 or 4 in the morning every day to start my day because I want to get ahead of the traffic and get a good chunk of the day where traffic's light. This is particularly important on the East Coast. And it also means I pull over earlier at night so that I can get a fucking parking spot before everyone else. I try and skewer my hours to not be the same as everyone else's, who generally wants to sleep in till 8 o'clock in the morning and pull over at 8 or 9 at night. And after 7 at night, you ain't getting a spot. Anyways, leaving all that aside, I get up early in the morning and it's raining and my dash says 32 degrees and I'm like, let me give it a go. So I gave it a go, and the highways were fine. Well, unfortunately in Kentucky, they don't seem to salt the roads. And who can blame them? That's a lot of money to spend for something that doesn't happen very often. However, I get to this fucking bridge, and this bridge is, I'd say, maybe a little over a quarter mile and slightly curved, and I lose traction on all of my tires. My front, my rear, and the truck starts doing this shit. So I'm sitting there, I'm counter steering, I'm tapping the brakes here and there just to keep the trailer behind me, because when you tap the brakes, the rear tires can lock up and that'll keep them from fucking, I don't know. Whatever I did, it was a spur of the moment thing. I was yelling, oh shit, and I was tapping the brakes and counter steering as the tractor, because it was the drives were slipping. I had took my feet off the gas completely, and I was counter steering and tapping the brakes here and there, sometimes very rapidly, because I don't know, I don't trust the ABS in these trailers in this truck enough to put steady pressure, but that's a whole other thing. And somehow I made it around this curve with no traction. It was like an ice skating rink. And there was another bridge I encountered, but I was ready for it at that point, so I was going like 25 miles an hour on that shit. So I was all right, but I was still losing traction. It's just this one bridge caught me way off guard. And then after that, I pulled over. I fucking stopped for 3 hours until it was daytime and the temperature came up enough that the bridges wouldn't ice up. But yeah, I could have died. If that could have gone another way, jackknifed and on a bridge, I could have gone over the edge. It could have been bad. But I didn't die. I'm still here, and somehow I, through use of the force, I managed to get around that turn. I don't know how I got off onto that little tangent, but just, keeping you updated on my life a little. Anyways, back to the fasting. That's my plan. I want to do this for the rest of my life. And I want to test every variation of it so that I know exactly what I need to do and when I need to do it. If my weight drops all the way down to the 190s again, I can be a little more liberal with the cheat days, the carby, shitty, eating standard American diet horseshit days. Or if I start to gain weight, or if I plateau before I want to plateau, or if I start feeling like shit a lot more. Obviously, these are all things I have to keep an eye on, but the most important thing I'm honestly keeping my eye on is the depression. If I have a depression, does it last? So far, this week, there's, ironically, on one of my eat days, I felt a bit down. But by the fast day, something about your first 24 to 36 hours of fasting, you get an adrenaline boost, and it definitely lifts up your energy levels. And I think that in and of itself counteracts depression. But we'll see. There's a lot to be black-pilled about right now with the war and the fact that it could spread and we could legit be fucked, and the fact that our economics are about to be fucked with the rising fuel prices on top of our already fucked up inflation situation, all thanks to sanctions, which Putin isn't going to give a shit about at all because he's got China backing him up apparently. So yeah, and you're going to freeze bank accounts in the day and age of crypto. Yeah, good luck with that. I'm sure those rich people don't know anything about crypto over there in Russia. We're doing things that are ineffective, and I just say let him have it. It's between him and the Ukrainians. Leave us the fuck out of it. Quit, trying. And the whole reason it happened is we tried to get Ukraine into NATO, and Putin was like, no. So, that's where we're at. I say leave it between Ukraine and Russia. Apparently, there was a treaty under Bill Clinton that involved Ukraine disarming themselves of the nuclear weapons, with us giving some kind of agreement, and Russia, ironically, giving an agreement that we would defend them in the case of anybody trying to fuck them up. Well, wouldn't you know that Russia went back on their word and attacked them, and they're asking us to help, and I don't think we're going to help. That's my impression. We're just going to do these sanctions to say that we did something. And I don't think Putin gives a shit about that. That's my little hot take on the Ukraine thing right now. I'm sorry, Ukraine, but we got problems here. We've got problems here with our freedoms being taken away and tyranny fucking creeping in all around us. We're not in a position to be world police, and that's my opinion on that right now. It's not our job, and we should get the fuck out of there. Unfortunately, our president has had his corrupt fucking hands into Ukraine, along with his son, for quite some time now. So, while accusing our former president of these things, now all of a sudden, turns out it was all him. It's fucked up. Anyways, enough of that little fucking tangent. So, yeah. I will keep you posted on alternate day fasting when I get the opportunity to weigh in. My home time's coming up shortly. Next week, I should be able to tell you how that's going. As far as my physical, I'm going to try and get a physical while I'm back. I'm actually getting a full physical from the VA when I get back. So I'll find out just how fucked up I really am. I know they're going to try and push certain things into my arm, and I'm going to be like, you can go fuck yourself. And the minute they press, I'm going to be like, look, either you're going to stop and just address what I'm here to talk about, or I'm going to leave and probably never come back. That's where I'm at with that. So don't push me into that shit. I'm not there for that. I'm there for just my wellness check and my physical. Yeah, I know I could get a certain kind of thing and probably die from it, but so far I've had it twice and I'm not dead. Let's move on. All right. There's other things in life that are probably going to kill me that have nothing to do with that. So we'll just leave it there, like nuclear war or something. We'll see how that goes. And if that goes well, I'm going to try and get my DOT physical done before I come back out. And if I can get those two things done, I'll be in this motherfucker for at least a year. I do not regret coming out here. I've been very busy. I'm making good money. I see no reason not to try and prepare for what's going to happen. With rising fuel prices, they're already gone up. Like regular gas I saw for $4 almost. It was $3.98, but hey, it's fucking $4. And diesel fuel's probably going to hit $4.50, $4.60 here, which is going to drive up the price of everything else, because that's what runs this truck. And when you drive that price up, everything gets fucked up. So, yeah, we're going to see some hard times. And that's the other benefit of alternate day fasting. You could easily spend $18 on a fast food meal now. Ugh. And if I'm doing that every day, that's going to cost a fortune. And you can even apply this if you are able to go to a grocery store and cook every day easily. The food prices are going to go up. There's going to be scarcity. There's going to be people now that go into the supermarket and have to choose the cheapest, most fucked up, shitty foods simply because their price hasn't gone up as much as the healthy foods have. Ribeyes are going to be almost out of reach for most people. So if I want to keep myself in ribeyes, I got to keep doing this. Thankfully, I'm in a position where I'm debt-free. I have no rent or any of those expenses. I'm living in this fucking thing at the moment. And I'm actually okay with it. Like, I don't feel deprived during my off times as much. Yeah, it's hard to get out and get around. But with Uber, I can still manage to do that. If I really need something to get out of here, I can go and stay in a hotel if I want, or an Airbnb. And I get to travel. I get to do what I like to do, and that's to go to different places in the States. I don't get international travel because I didn't put the shit in my arm, but there's enough in this country to keep me busy the rest of my life if I will, want to change scenery. And every day is kind of an adventure out here. And I guess that helped lift me out of the funk I was in New York. I think that and just being out here and independent and free and just doing what I like to do when I want to do it, and not worried about, putting shit on my face or shit in my arms or whatever the latest government fucking thing is. True, I get into little places that tyranny is still a thing. Like I'm going to the Philadelphia area here shortly. And so there's that, but when I'm not in big cities, which is a lot of the time, when you're over the road, it's nice. It's the people don't give a shit what you're doing. No one's fucking with you. You see every once in a while, you see someone with some shit on their face now, but you're just like, okay, well, they'll figure it out eventually. Then I'm good. But it is what it is. It's easy to get caught up because I do listen to a lot of podcasts and social media and stuff like that, and it's easy to get caught up in these politics and the tyranny that's going on. But at the same time, this keeps my perspective, I think, of it's not like that literally on every square inch of the country. There's definitely states and cities and towns that are just living their lives oblivious to all of this. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I can tell you when I'm in those areas to where no one gives a shit about any of this shit, they're not even talking about it, I feel better in those areas than I do in places that are consumed by this, which nearly every large city and social media is consumed with all of this culture war, with all of the tyranny and shit, and I don't know. I'm finding time to think about things like fast. Like I spent a whole day listening to people's stories on alternate day fasting, and listening to the latest studies and stuff like that, and that helps. That got me fired up to do ADF again. And as you know, I've been fapping about doing ADF for a long time. But at some point, you got to take some charge of your life, or you will fall, into this nihilistic pattern of everything is shit. Everything very well may be shit. But if you don't do anything to, at the very least, better something about yourself or your life, then that's how you'll feel. You'll become nihilistic. You'll completely give up on everything. You'll lose your fucking mind. And you'll be depressed all the time or anxious all the time. That's what coming out here has alleviated from me. I was immersed in it in New York, and now I get these breaks. And I think the breaks are the only way to get through the tough times that are coming down the pipe. So now, me in New York would have been like, the sky is falling, fuck it, at this point. But me out here on the road is like, I still need to work on myself. I still need to change my lifestyle a bit. And I still need to find that sweet spot of happiness that I've been pursuing for years now. So, the fuck do I know? Don't do any of the stupid fucking shit I'm doing. Don't sit here and don't eat every other day, because guess what? CNN says that that's fucking bad for you. No, you need to go to Walmart every day and eat all the fucking carbs and the grains and all of it, but don't eat any of those evil animals in the process. You just fucking sit there and pound sugar and grain into your veins all day, every day, so that all the fucking big food corporations can make all the fucking money and pay for all the fucking commercials on all the fucking TV stations. That's what you're supposed to do, because people like Dr. Fauci say so. I'm pretty sure he fucking supports all of that shit. I don't know. I can't confirm or deny that. I've never heard him talk about nutrition, even though it's a very, very important part of our full spectrum of our health, and even though that a lot of people that died from COVID happen to have those comorbidities that are the ones that result if you eat like shit your entire life. Yeah, but we don't care about that. You go to McDonald's, but make sure you stop off and get that shit in your veins on the way to fucking McDonald's and all of that. This the stupidity, is what it is. Don't do it something just because you saw some bearded dickhead in the fucking truck do it on the internet. Do your fucking homework, take personal responsibility for your health and your welfare and your life, and come to your own conclusions based on the evidence that you uncover. And just because you're doing something that I'm not doing, or I'm doing something that you're not doing, doesn't make either of us fucking wrong. It's all about your freedom, your personal choice, and living with the consequences of those choices and not blaming everybody else for them. All right? It's whether or not you take responsibility for the choices I make. So if I do this alternate day fasting and eat what I want on my fucking feed days and I get a massive depression, or if I have a grabber, or if a blood vessel shoots out of my eye and all of these things could happen. I don't know. Maybe it's a possibility. But guess what? When I'm laying there on the gurney after having a fucking stroke and can't move my entire left side, I'm probably going to be kicking myself going, well, I shouldn't have done that stupid shit. And I won't be sitting here blaming everybody else for that. I won't be saying keto did it, or the Standard American Diet did it, or Pfizer did it, or, any of those fuckers. I'll be sitting there going, nope, this is the consequence of what I chose to do, and this is what I have to deal with now, and it's nobody's fault but mine. Personal responsibility. Don't do something because you see some dickhead on YouTube do it and then it doesn't work out for you, and then you blame the dickhead on YouTube. You're the one that chose to do it. There. I'm off of that soapbox. Have a nice motherfucking day and shit. Whoever told me to quit coffee, fuck you. Yep, I can taste the fuck you with every sip.